Are you ready to do your mark?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I see your no, I'm not ready to do the mark. I see your text. The invite actually comes through on my phone, and that's what lets me know. Holy shit, he's trying to call me.
Okay. Yeah,
Where
do
am
you
I
also
going?
see a disturbing pattern in the text? That there's like 15 from me and no replies from you? Just so you know. I'm
You know
noticing.
why that is? Because I like talking to you, Charles.
I doubt
So
that.
that is
I doubt that
disturbing.
seriously. I doubt that seriously.
Yeah, yeah. You better respect my authority. Screw you guys.
Oh,
I'm going home.
God. It's gonna be one of those shows today. Are
Hey,
you ready?
Charles.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
for your information, both of y'all's audio sounds equal, sounds level,
Good.
except for that.
It's,
Uh,
it's all the buzz.
Ready? 3, 2, 1 marker.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1 marker.
What? No.
3, 2, 1 marker.
All right, got it.
Are you sure this time?
Yeah, I got it. It's
All
done.
right. I'm gonna hit uh,
This
marker
is.
time and music.
Oh
All
wait.
right.
Oh, we are live. We're all. Hey, everybody.
Marker time and music.
This is R. Morton Mon.
And I am Charles McFall, and we are all about bigger, badder, better, more.
Bigger, badder, better, more. We're here to help others be awesome.
And you've landed on the comedic motivational show, Success Freaks.
Welcome everyone to the #1 football, not soccer, comedic motivational show, otherwise known as Success Freaks. Today's working title is episode 156, World Cup, World Community. And today we are coming at you semi-live from Racine, Wisconsin, and the Bears Den in Monticello, Georgia. And making that clunky noise, hitting his microphone, is
I'm
the
not
dark
hitting it.
side
I'm
of positive.
adjusting it.
Charles, I'm announcing you. Let me announce you.
You know, when you
Is
think it's early.
the interrupting bear, Charles McFall.
You know, I had to do some things in a
Say hello,
couple.
Charles.
Don't know if it's the
Time
same
to say hello,
thing.
Charles.
I
You
did.
should probably talk now.
I tried. So, yeah, I'm the steady as you go bear because, you know, it's too early for me. We had to bump the schedule up today for production values and something. You know, I'm sure Mordant's lying, but I just go along with it. It's fine.
You know what? Anybody of you who are watching the live version or the videoed live version can see that I'm actually in a hotel room. And the reason is I've gone from Pennsylvania to the Bristol Renaissance Fair where I do not have any Wi-Fi whatsoever. And so I had to get a hotel so I could do this. I had to do this last year. They talked about having Wi-Fi out there where all of us are staying, but not yet. So, and that's also, you see me moving around, you see this huge mirror behind me, and you get the glimpse of the back of me. If I
Actually,
move
it's a
too
great
much.
background, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you like
It's
it?
a nice touch.
It's a
It
creepy
is.
mirror, though. It looks like a two-way see-through mirror, and then we're like, I don't know.
Well, you know, welcome to the show, creepy people behind the mirror. No, to be part of our World Cup community. And actually, we're not talking about the World Cup today. We're just using that as a
Yeah.
simile.
Well,
I don't know, it's not even a
for the
metaphor, really.
for the first time, I've actually been watching the World Cup, and just tonight is the USA moved on from the group of death to the next phase, and today I think they're fighting against Belgium, and that's later on tonight. And I'm excited about it. I hope they do well. Really liked watching it. At first, I'm like, soccer. It's like hockey on the grass without the fighting, but I've been enjoying it. So
I
it's football, not soccer. Football.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends who watch, and we did for my other show from the Helicarrier. We did a hangout Saturday night for our Patreons over there, and we have a world community, and some of the people in the other parts of the world were ragging the U.S. for something. I forget what. And somebody who does watch the World Cup went, "Oh yeah, well we're the country who loses in the World Cup and still advances." So there you
Yeah.
go. I was like, "All right, we're gonna start a fight now. Let's go for it."
All right,
So,
all right. And
you know,
that's
world
what you
community,
get a
right?
world community. Yeah, people
Well,
fighting and
That'd be World War II, which there's another Brad
Oh.
Pitt movie coming out about that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, Fury is the name of
Yeah.
this movie, and it's about tanks or about a tank. And those of you
Okay.
who know, I've been playing World of Tanks, and so I'm like, oh, what kind of tank is that? Looking at them all and looking at the fighting, and I'm like, oh, it's just like that in my video game.
Uh, you're so not, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm
So,
so not cool.
how do you build a world community? Well, I think the first step, and that's what we're going to talk about, is
Yeah,
how we're all the same and how we're all connected, and how the whole world can get together to watch the World Cup. This is different than the World Series because the actual world participates in the World Cup. And there, as far as I know, there's been, for the mass per capita amount of people in one place, or in multiple places rather, all over, there's been very low crime rates. And it's because it's a passion for one thing. And in this case, it's a passion for the sport and for the team that you're supporting. But I know rivals can get together to a point and do fine together, and that's what a world community is all about, is realizing we're all human beings and finding common ground.
yeah, looking for the same in others, uh, glorifying the differences, and that's we're talking about world community, but the same thing is true in each of our countries, in each of our towns, each of our cities, everything. You know, uh, one of the one of the places I stay is in Gastonia, and I want to give a shout out right now to 1450 WGNC, who is the radio station that's promoting us or putting us out there. When I'm in Gastonia, I go to what's the name of that fitness place we go to in Gastonia? Planet Fitness. I go to Planet Fitness. One of the things I really like about it is you see all different kinds of people, and you're thinking, oh, it's North Carolina, it's the South. They do talk like that. However, one of the things I really like about this is you see all different kinds of people, all races, and all getting together, all helping each other out, all working out together, just laughing together, talking, and I really like that. You don't see, well, we got my white guys over here, we got my black guys over here, we have the Asians over here. We don't see that. There's more of a world community happening there, and I think it's just that seeing the commonality we have in each other, and yet being secure enough to be able to glorify the differences. People are so concerned about pointing out, well, this guy looks like this and that guy looks like that, and this, you don't want to talk about that because that's racial. It's like, yes, but we are different. We are different, and that's okay, and that's great if you're okay with that, if you're secure enough in yourself. So I think the first thing also is just to get to know other people, travel a little bit, different things like that, and then you can bring that world community back home to you.
It's like the joke on the first date that no, it's serious, no, it is. It's like if you have a great first date, you don't speak, and the joke, it depends on who's telling it. Either you tell that to the girl, or you tell that to the guy. But the idea is always just ask them questions. Don't say anything other than, well, I do this. Now, what about you? And we were talking reality about going to conferences and networking and meeting people, and that's how you get people, even as a show host, that's how you get people to think that was such a great show, because you get them to just talk about themselves.
Yeah.
That's honestly just a universal truth underneath it all, to get to know people, and that's true with the world community. And I think you hit it on the head, and that jumps to our first level up towards the end, that you have to start with yourself first. When you're afraid of what's inside of you, when you're afraid of how you are, then you're afraid of how other people are, and therefore you can't really get to know people that well. Or there's aspects that you're uncomfortable with, and as soon as you're uncomfortable, you get scared. So you have to know yourself first and be okay
Right.
with yourself. Not that it's, okay, this is part of the world community, even though it's not a race specifically. But I used to work with a couple of lesbians at the ambulance station, and I was, at that time, just really, I've been out of the church for a while, but I was still trying to figure out my mental footing on where I lie, spirituality, what I believe, and I'm asking questions. And I find this is true for anybody. I've gotten a lot better at it, but I would just say, okay, I don't understand something, so let me ask you. And I would just ask a blunt question. And my partner would be like explaining it to me. Her partner, her girlfriend, at one point got mad Well, because she had baggage with rednecks and people just not, especially men, not understanding and trying to change and this and that and the other. And her, my partner, the go-between, the in-between us, said, no. He's trying to learn. If more people would actually ask and learn, this would be better. So let me answer his question.
Right.
And I was like, I'm sorry. I really am just trying to learn. I don't understand. And it's a very interesting path that maybe we can get into later. But it is about asking questions and truly being willing to learn with knowing that it does not affect you.
Right. You need to be secure enough in yourself, and don't let somebody else's difference scare you or challenge your belief system. It's just because they believe a certain way does not mean that your way is wrong. It doesn't mean if you can embrace yourself. One of the things I saw a picture recently, and I know we don't have much time. I saw a picture recently, and it was in, I believe it's in Egypt, and it was all of these Christians holding hands around a circle, and they were facing outward, surrounding Muslims while they were praying, protecting them so that they could do this. I don't know if it was during a riot or whatever, but it was such a touching picture that you would not normally see. You'd see that amongst different races and stuff, but different religions, that takes a lot of security going. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The right thing to do is help you, a fellow human being, be able to do what you got to do. So be secure enough in yourself to be able to do that, and realize that their belief system doesn't really challenge you. It's all right. It's all right.
And be secure enough to email us. Contact at Success Freaks with all your questions and comments. We'd like to hear from you. We'll be right back.
Sorry if I hit the wall on that one.
No. We actually pushed it right up to where it could be. It's good.
I got to get my notepad. I'll be right back.
All right. 8:59. So for those of you watching on the video or watching live, recording or whatever, this is the behind the scenes. We probably should start this way instead of just freaking you doing it in the middle. But this is the behind the scenes. It's one uncut video for right now. Later in the future, that's why we're recording it to YouTube, because in the future we want to be able to go back and edit these and put them down as marketable videos. But if you're watching the unedited version, either as a DVD bonus, or more than likely, we just haven't gotten around to cutting these or taking them down off the wall. So you're watching how we put the show together. So right now, Mornith is off finding pads because it's his time of the month.
Are you laughing because you can hear us?
No, I made a time of the month. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
I made a time of the month joke because I said you're off finding pads. And it tickles me. It tickles me.
That's good. That's great. That's great.
You don't care.
Nope. I guess this stays on my lap if I need it. All right. This next segment is where you and I talk about stuff.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. This will be good.
All right. Do you have a way to? Do you have something to? I'll bring us in. But do you have a? Yeah. We'll just continue more of the same. That's pretty much what we were doing. All right.
All right. We're going to marker time.
Wait. Start the time over again, please.
Ready?
World community is also about having patience with one another.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Time.
Goal! Welcome back to Success Freaks. If I could have said it right, it would have been perfect. I got all excited in the bit. Welcome back. Today we are talking about World Cup, World Community. Charles, you had something you wanted to discuss or rant or etc. about with your cup of power.
Actually, no, this is my cup of sexy. It says you're hot on it.
Okay.
My cup of power is being cleaned right now. So we're talking about World Community. And I've noticed there's some things it seems like don't transcend language barriers or community barriers, and yet there are things. Shut up. There are things that do transcend.
No comprendo, no claro.
They do. Shut up.
Necesito practicar mi inglés más. Sorry.
So I do another show about a game. I mean, it literally is about a game. So it transcends a little bit because everybody who listens plays a game. It's not a general community type show. I mean, you really have to play the game to even care about what we're doing there. And I find that because people play the game and understand the references in the game, they actually understand humor references that they wouldn't normally understand. You know, it's very interesting because I found in the bear calling days I could make jokes and they'd just be lost on a foreign community. And here at Success Freaks, we've actually taken specific steps to try to be more global oriented and not tell regional humor, you know, that kind of thing. What have you found? I'm about to cuss on the radio. What have you found with the Tortuga Twins or your own personal journeys around the world, but specifically with Tortuga Twins? Is it a local community like in the U.S., or have you found a worldwide understanding of your humor?
Well, there's if you go from region to region, like if I go from Georgia to Arizona or Minnesota, different jokes are going to fly. Different jokes are going to be received better, just because the audience sometimes are more conservative, sometimes they're much more open about things. You know, red state, blue state, all that kind of stuff. I have a buddy of mine who travels around the world. Actually, he does street busking, which means he does a show on the street and grabs a crowd, performs, and then they pass the hat. And he actually he's learned Italian, just like, oh, I'm going to learn Italian. And he's gotten so good that he's able to deal with hecklers, and now he's starting to learn German. But he was talking to some of his Italian comedian friends, and he said a joke, and the audience didn't like it, so he thought he'd ask them about it. And it was basically about this, you know, sorry guys, about a Catholic priest and a little boy, and he told the joke, and he got to the punchline, and his friends were horrified, and they're like, why would you say this? This is not funny. And because they're all comedians, he was able to explain, well, in America, the Catholic priest, sometimes this happens, it's unfortunate, but you know, we are able to joke about it so we can move on. He goes, that's sick. In Italy, the joke is that the priests, they sleep with women. They're sleeping around with women. So that's something, you know, because of the cultural differences, certain things won't go. I know personally from, if you're writing a book, certain phrases that you use, it's not a word for word translation. It can't be. Words are not done that way. Sometimes language is more flowery with certain languages. Sometimes it's more to the point with certain languages. I mean, we get more of we're more of a Germanic language, so anybody speaking German, we're going to be able to do more word for word, and it's gonna translate. The joke's going to translate better than it would with any of the Romance languages. So and there's different frames of reference too. You know, stuff that's funny to us, whether it's from American politics, whether it's from American television, or just, you know, jokes that are out there on the internet, are not going to be funny to somebody who has no frame of reference from that stuff. So there is the difference, even in our language.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that Germans don't even have a word for should. You know, I was in a speech that was talking about how we need to do things and be definite about what we do. And that other language, maybe I know German was specifically referenced, but I wonder how many other languages might not. They don't have a should, because if you ever say I should do something, you're really saying you're not going to. You know, right? Have you gone to the gym today, Mordant?
I have not gone to the gym today, but you know what? I should.
No, I knew you'd be honest. You were just like, no. But a lot of people are like, well, I probably will, or I should later. You know, and a lot of cultures don't have that, and I find that interesting, a mindset that they just do things. Or even I've never been to. You went to Tibet? Is that correct?
Thailand.
Thailand. I'm sorry. I've never been anywhere but Israel outside of the country. And even there, the cultures, at least where I went, were similar. Now, I did get, because of my specific tour guide, World Traveler Jim, I got to get more into the culture that's not tourist than most people. But I found that as long as I was okay, it was okay. But we walked through some areas that typically most tourists don't go, and the signs changed from Hebrew. Yeah, I could recognize the patterns of it. I don't read any of it.
Right.
But I can recognize the patterns of Hebrew to the patterns of Arabic. We had made our way into a Muslim neighborhood, and Jim kind of pointed out. Now, I trust him fully. I mean, I don't really know his background. He's one of those guys that he can't talk about his job. He can't talk about his training, but I know he could pull a Harrison Ford or a Wesley Snipes and get me out of there if he needed to, you know. So I trust that he took me into an okay place, but it's a place that most tourists can't go because they stick out. Right. But because I trusted, I wasn't worried. We never got a second look. We never got challenged anywhere we went. And that's the thing. I mean, it still comes back to right. It still comes back to being okay with yourself. How did you do when you first entered Thailand?
Well,
and you've never been before.
I want to get back to Israel a little bit. Talk about a world community.
Fine.
We always hear about how the the Israelis and the Arabs and all the the Muslims and everything are at each other's throat. What we don't hear about is the communities there, which are trying to work together.
Yeah.
I even heard about a camp where they send Israeli children and Arabic children together. So they could get to know each other. So they move beyond the stereotypes. Oh, you're just like me. You like to play this game too. It is about getting to know each other and knowing the differences as well, but finding the same. And I think that's one of the unsung things. I've always wanted to see a movie about Romeo and Juliet set on the West Bank. I thought that would be an interesting version of that. As far as Thailand, how did I do that? I did fine because they're very, very tourist orientated. So most people speak English. Most people want to. So you're never too far out. They're all very, very polite. There were some cultural differences. Like they don't like when you pick your teeth or play with your teeth, and they'll hide their hand over their mouth when they do that. They have no problem with picking their nose in public. It was just like, wow, look at that very attractive Thai girl. Oh, and now she's picking her nose. Okay, so that's just a cultural difference. And they think the same thing about us when we pick our teeth, which we were like, I don't care. I'll floss my teeth. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't like the teeth picking either.
So, but you're okay with picking your nose. Great, that's nice.
Hey, Muay Thai. I don't know.
I actually went to a Muay Thai match. The thing that was most interesting that you don't ever see is the music they're playing. This sounds like a cat being tortured while the bouts are going on, and I'm just like, what is with this music? And they just all loved it.
Wow. Well, let me leave you with this thought as we get out of this segment here. World Traveler Jim, one of the favorite things he loves to do when he has a long weekend and he's overseas already is just to get on a plane and go somewhere. And he does not speak other languages. He can do okay with a little bit from the places he's been all the time, but he's not like fluent in a dozen languages. So he'll just get on a plane and just go to Minsk, Russia, or I'm not talking about tourist places. I'm talking about, hey, this plane will land here, I'll go there. And he does that. So what would you do if you could go anywhere in the world and all of a sudden be there? Hit us up. Contact at Success Freaks. Check us out, facebook.com/Success Freaks. We'll be right back. I feel like my tongue is tired today. I feel like I'm a lot.
I don't know.
I gotta slow down.
How do you think the conversation is going?
It's going all right.
Right.
I really, I hate that I had that thought towards while you were talking. It's like, now that would have been a cool thing for you and I to really discuss. Is okay. So you get on a plane and all of a sudden you're in the new world that's not touristy. I mean, even I flew into Israel, the big city, one of the big cities in Israel.
Jerusalem.
No, you don't land in Jerusalem. It's a T. I can't. I'm blanking right now. Yeah. So anyway, I landed in the big, huge international airport, and even then, because I was thinking, this is all for extra for people watching on the video, because this is definitely not being it's being recorded, but it's not going on the radio. Maybe we can discuss it in Beyond. Let's do that. Let's discuss, our experiences with other cultures in Beyond.
There's Avda. I know what you mean. I'm not seeing the name for it. Avda, Gurion. I'm not seeing the name for it either.
It's the Ben Gurion Airport.
Ben Gurion. It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv. There it is. Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv. Yeah. All right. So 9:59. We're going to talk about the question here.
All right. And then we'll use the other thing for Beyond. Groovy.
Yeah. Because I think we both will have real stories to tell. And it was a great second segment, had I thought about it before we did the second segment.
What?
All right. What?
What did you
Our
say?
second, we're trying to talk to each other on the second segment. And this On Beyond is going to would have been a great second segment had I thought about it before most of the way through the second segment.
Right. Well, we can always flip them if you want to and just do a different lead-in for the
That's too much work.
All right.
I got a lot to do today. Last week we pushed our deadline really hard. So.
When is the thingy thing gonna go out? For
What
last
thing
week's
is that?
show. When is the last week's show
Sometime
gonna
today, as long as I
Today,
keep
okay.
Success Freaks responding. Okay,
All right.
so we'll do marker time, and I'll just let you know. It's up to you. I don't think we have to let them know it's from Yahoo Answers. We can just say we have this question. I don't think it's.
Yep, yeah, I like that. I like that better.
Yeah,
Nope, you're
okay.
right. You're right. We don't need
Just
to do
making sure.
that unless it was a quote from something.
I mean, it's a direct read, and it's fine. We don't have to say we got this question. But I don't
Right.
think we have to say it's Yahoo Answers either. And it's whatever makes you feel better, because I thought
How did
maybe
you
it's an
phrase it?
honesty thing.
How did you phrase it?
We have a
have a
question today that we're going to
Great.
answer.
Great. We have a question today that we're going to answer. Let me put that in there.
Okay, yeah, take your second.
There it is. All right.
All right, and I'm gonna do marker time. So here we go. Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. That's right. Ever ready, ever on the stick, ever. Did I mark my time yet? Yes.
Ever professional on the air.
Ever professional. That was what I was looking for. Today we are talking about World Cup, World Community, and we have a question today that we're going to answer that falls into that a little bit. So and here's the question. So I'm pondering about how to make the world a better place. To me, quality of life can be done greatly through help within a community, like how neighbors used to talk to each other and trust each other than trying to avoid them today. For example, ads promoting good behavior. Promote movies that show the quote-unquote good. Celebrates also promoting volunteer work that other than products. Schools promoting volunteer work, maybe through curriculum. Block parties, more community clubs and sports, community carnivals, festivals, etc. So here is your challenge. What other ways do you think the community can make life better than the way it is now? Thanks.
I want to go ahead, and this isn't even the dark side of positive. This is just negative, because I don't know why. It just hits a negative tone with me. So I want to get it out, because I'm sure there's other people who feel it, and then we'll get it to the positive. We'll transform your minds as you listen to our show. So, the first thing, ads promoting good behavior. That doesn't make money. I mean, even Dove has done a great campaign about inner beauty, and they've got bigger women who are not traditionally Hollywood beautiful. Some could maybe even be called ugly, if you will, but they're not. I mean, of course, Dove makes sure to make them look from average to beautiful, and it's a great campaign about inner beauty. I've loved it. We at Success Weeks, we really followed it last year when they first came out with it, and it does help. But they're not promoting good behavior. Even those, I gotta say, there's stupid commercials. They're not even around anymore. But what is it? Truth, #Truth or whatever, about cigarettes. Those are stupid commercials. But it's supposed to be about good behavior. It doesn't work. Movies that I think any movie that shows good also shows bad. I mean, that's the thing. You can't separate them. Volunteer work, then we run into like Susan B. Komen, who only gives 10% of the billions of dollars they give towards actual cancer research. They got in trouble for that. Every one of these I find an issue with. And then I realized this is why our communities have separated the way they have. It's not because the internet. It's not because people become so selfish. It's because bad people do bad things. And then we stopped connecting to each other as human beings. I see the carnival and festival thing, and I won't let my kids go to the carnivals, the traveling carnivals, because so many bad things do happen at them, especially the one that comes around here. Is it because of the carnival? No, it's because of the opportunity, and because people don't look out for everybody else, because the world has changed. And I can even argue in the 1950s, when neighbors were in each other's business and they talked to each other and there were communities, bad things were going on, and they turned a blind eye. And part of the reason that community has dissolved is because somebody had to step up and say, this bad behavior has to stop. This criminal behavior has to stop. Well, that broke up the I don't have a better word for it, the boys club, as it were. Because when you build a community, you build almost a hive mind. So that's my point. I'd love to hear more on its positive counterpoint to it.
Well, here's my counterpoint on the ads promoting good behavior. You say it doesn't make money. Yeah, but now we're talking about brand image. Brand image, and they're creating trust. They're creating appreciation for their brand. Hey, look, Nike did this. Nike donated this to Special Olympics, or did something out of the ordinary. Where you look at them and you go, "Wow, did you look?" Warren Buffett had a conversation with Bill Gates, and now Bill Gates is giving away millions of dollars. You know, you look at that and you're like, "Wow, I kind of like Warren Buffett. I like Bill Gates too because
Hey,
they do."
you know, he has those great songs about Tequila Paradise or something like that.
What? Oh, that's Jimmy.
There you go.
But it's all about, for them, it's about brand image. So if you own a company, if you own a corporation, it's not a waste of time to give back to your community. It's also a tax write-off, and that I know I'm speaking your language right there. So why not, instead of giving that money just back to, here you go, government, giving it back to the government, why not spend it on your community in which you are bringing people in to work in your workforce, and why not affect them in a positive way? You know, one of the things that some of the why the mob was so effective, that in their own community they took care of the whole community. So that's why they were able to get away with so much, and people wouldn't say anything about them. And then all the killing and and all the bad, you know, all the bad stuff really came out, and then it was like,
Well,
no.
See, that's kind of my point too, a little bit with community, and I'm all for community. I mean, you cannot survive without others. You really can't, and it's all about the why and being honest. See, in my experience, in a community, it's you have to fit to their mold, and you can't be honest. As soon as you start calling out bad things on people, then you're ostracized. You're out. What happened with the mob was they knew they killed people. They always knew they killed people. They just killed other people. They didn't kill us. They protected us.
And that was more of a tact.
No, I'm not saying the military's a mob. I'm saying, okay, we don't hate our military because our military goes out and kills other people.
Right.
They protect us. That's the mentality with the gang. In Los Angeles, the Something Kings, they were, especially through the 90s, highly regarded as, we need to study them and figure out what they're doing, because their community never turned on them. They couldn't be arrested for anything. Even the police sometimes turn a blind eye. And it's because they're doing what you talked about. They improved the community. They brought in businesses. They protected. There was not graffiti and nasty gang stuff everywhere, and they killed other people. They kept the trouble out of their neighborhood, and that's why.
Even with the Crips and the Bloods. Blood stands for your blood, your family. So we take care of our own. Crips stand for community response in progress. We take care of our own. You know, but with the mob and a lot of time with the gangsters and people like that, it's a tactic. It's to protect yourself. True. I mean, but it's a tactic that some corporations can adapt. If you're in a community and you're using those people as your workforce and you're there, you should do something for that community. I wanted a couple of things that you hit was block parties. I've been to a couple of block parties. I think it's a great way to know your neighbors. And getting back to the Rennie community, the Rennie family, I know my neighbors. I know my neighbor's kids. I know that if my neighbor's kids are off with and having a hard time with somebody that does not belong around there, I'm able to say something. If somebody in that community begins doing something bad, if there's abuse on some level or other, that person doesn't stay in that community very long. Pretty soon they're ostracized and they're off the circuit. So that's taking care of your own, and that's just getting to know each other.
And
so
that's go ahead.
I was going to say, and I think that's what this person may be talking about is there's got to be a better way of celebrating that community, you know, binding together. But I wanted to throw out one more thing. Okay. Here's what I don't like about it. Promote movies and shows of the good, quote unquote good. Who gets to call out what is the good, and who gets, especially dealing with artists and art. You know, stuff that we consider art today was considered almost pornography in the 1600s and 1500s and 1400s. That's why a lot of these artworks have somebody painting fig leaves over them. That's why a lot of these sculptures were vandalized, you know, because it was like, oh, that's disgusting. The naked body, that's disgusting. Who gets to say what's good and what's bad? That gets a little bit too big brotherish, even in a community. No bueno.
Well, that makes the point and the counterpoint all at the same time. Is in order to build a community, you have to have control, and people forget that. And when you talked about the Rennie community, it's a small one, and the control is in the fact that you basically all are separate but together, and that's what builds a community to me. It's not losing yourself, and they're not going, okay, I have to obey their rules. And my experience has been church with that kind of community, so I can relate that, especially in the South, or even religion across the world, is in any given religion, there are rules, and there's sects, S-E-C-T-S, sects. I can't pronounce this morning, but there's different versions. Like in the South of America, there's the Southern Baptist, there's the Methodist, there's Presbyterian, there's the First Baptist, there's the you get it. So
Charles, are you just giving us sectual education?
Oh my God. No, I am not. I got another point to make out here. So, stop it. But the point is, you have to be separate but together. And when you talk about the running thing, that's a good community because you all believe in taking care of yourselves and taking care of others. Whereas the difference is when you go into a hive mind, if you will, for lack of better words, the religion of Southern. I grew up Southern Baptist. Well, that's a certain way of doing things versus Presbyterian or Methodist. That's not a community. That's a jail. Community is going, no, I can be here and I can be out of it, but I'm here and I'm bringing value and we'll take care of you. We'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Twitter us at success_freaks. We're on Twitter and Facebook.com/successfreaks. We shall all return.
What do you think about that?
That was good. See, I like that question. I like that. And I like the idea. Obviously, we're not going to plan it every time, but okay, let's do point counterpoint. Let's do crossfire a little bit because I just don't get this question. It just rang that chord, and then you were able to bring out, and then boom, we got to it. That's where we went.
I liked it too. I thought it was a nice little instead of yes, everything's golden, and we just agree all the time.
Well, there's that, but it was also the bringing out the different points as opposed to like last week where we had a answer. And your answer was similar to mine, but a little bit. Let me add this point. And Jim's was similar to mine, but let me add that point. We'll have those. But like this was, here's a big picture thing, and now we can agree.
Right. Did Jim have anything to say about being on the show?
I haven't really talked to him since then. So no.
Sorry. Electrolysis.
Boredness?
I'm cleansing my aura
with a shaver.
With my rechargeable Wall 8900 trimmer.
Okie dokie. So 10 minutes 49 seconds here. We are going to do level up.
Oh yeah.
So we should talk about how we're leveling up our communities.
Right.
Oh, you know what? I do have something good on that. You ready? I guess.
Yeah.
You'll bring us back in.
Yep.
Okay. I'll do marker time. Marker time.
Welcome back, everybody who is listening to us, and a few of you who are not paying attention. You should be careful as you're driving. Two Success Freaks. Today's thing is World Cup, World Community, and we have been chatting quite a few points in different areas. This is the level up section where we talk about how you can use these thoughts to level up your life. And now a word from my sponsor.
I was just waiting, man. I was waiting for you to throw it to me. Like, okay, now he didn't, so I'm going to just sit here and be evil for a second, and let it hang, and make everybody who's listening nervous. Did I lose?
So sometimes leveling up your life involves patience and goofing around with your friends.
Sometimes it involves inflicting pain on others. So leveling up for community is about perception for me. This is my level up. And I was very arrogant and closed-minded when I met my wife and saw where she lived. And I have had to apologize a million times. Still, 13, 14 years later, I am still working past the damage I did with this starting comment and then another year of the way I thought. But at one point, my wife her family lives in this neighborhood, and it used to be nice. And at the time, it was going downhill. Now it's I think Manda, our good friend Manda Stanton, coined the phrase, it's ghetto light. It would be a trailer park if there were trailers in it. But it's okay. And I'm going to get to the whole perception thing, because I was judgmental. I'm like, I don't want to be in this neighborhood. And my wife came out in these cut-off jean shorts, and she's my girlfriend then. And I was just such a dumb person. And I looked at her, I was like, man, you kind of look like white trash in the shorts. Because that's what you want to say. Yeah, Morton's head pops up as he was looking down. I know, right? You don't say that. You don't think that. It was stupid. And I did a lot of damage emotionally with that. But here's my perception. I perceived this neighborhood as trashy. I've perceived how she looked as trashy. It has gotten a lot worse since then, as far as the outer.
Your wife?
No, no. The neighborhood has gotten a lot worse, and my behavior is getting a lot better. But even as of last year, we had a talk about how I couldn't overcome the damage that I did with that kind. It's a whole nother show. It's a whole nother show. But the neighborhood, I mean, there's cars out in the front yards now when they weren't there before. There's multiple vehicles parked in the grass. There's cars and parts. There's all kind of things that you go, man, look down your nose when you hear this. Man, this is trashy. And at one point when I first started having kids, I'm like, I don't want my kids raised around this. I don't want my kids to get all this bad behavior. And it was all me. It was all my perception. Now we're actually literally looking at moving into that neighborhood because it's what we can do with our situation. But before I could even get to the point of being able to look at that, within the last 2 or 3 years, I started dropping my judgment of the community and stopped keeping myself separate, going, I'm better than this, and going, man, that's a real person. And this person with their flaws and issues, as every human has flaws and issues, including myself, including you who are listening now, we have our own issues. And, this is a real person, but here's what, man, they got a good heart. I mean, there's some people in there who'll do anything for you for any reason. There's some people who won't. And those people get gone, like you talked about the Rennie Festival, the Rennie community, with ostracizing. They get ostracized. If there's crime in the neighborhood, don't get me wrong, but if somebody breaks in the neighborhood, breaks into another house in the neighborhood, they get tossed to the cops. I mean, there's no rat policy on that. It's like, no, you don't hurt your own, essentially. Right. You don't mess in our neighborhood. You go somewhere else and steal. You go somewhere else and deal with that.
We're advocating that.
No. I mean, I'm not saying that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. You go away. Don't mess with us. And when I dropped my judgment of myself, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I was judgmental of others because I was very judgmental of myself. Once I started accepting myself and starting letting go of the outer stuff, not worrying about other communities, realizing that I affect who I am, I was able to not only fit into that community. Now we're looking at moving into that community. Does that mean we're white trash? No. Does that mean they're white trash? No. People are who they are. And there are some trashy people in there because that's who they are. But the community as a whole, it's almost that movie moment where all of a sudden things change and the ripple effect goes across. You're like, oh, I see it differently. I see it differently. And that's my level up with building community.
Right. I think I have a couple points. The first thing is that you need to check your judgy Judgington attitude at the door.
Yes.
Realize that you are not better than. You are not too good for. And if somebody is doing something a different way, it just may mean that they're doing something a different way. It doesn't mean that they're better than you. So don't cop that attitude either. That's the first thing. Check your attitude at the door. So
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Absolutely. The second thing you should do is expose yourself.
What?
Find cross-cultural, like-minded groups. I mean, like I was talking about the gym earlier. You have something in common with those people there, but they're all cross-cultural. There's people from all walks of life, all creeds, all colors. Go and expose yourself to that situation, so you can take the fear of the unknown out of it, and get to know what you have in common with them. There's also your churches. There's also, I know that the Masons do a lot of cross-cultural stuff. Find people that you have. Go to I can't remember what it is now, where you find it online and those groups. I can't remember what they're called. But you can find groups online that have the same kind of things that you're into, they're into.
Meetups.
Charles is, what is it? Meetups.
Meetup.com.
Yes. Meetup.com. Any of you who are into Toastmasters, anything where groups are trying to better themselves, you're going to get cross-cultural there, and you're going to be with people that are going to surprise you. If you think that all white people are a certain way, all black people are a certain way, all Chinese people are a certain way, all American Indians are a certain way, you're going to find that when you join these groups, there are people there who can teach you something. There are people there who are gonna open up something and help you have a realization, an aha moment about yourself, about them. And it's worth doing, because once you do that, the world opens up to you. Then you're not afraid to travel. You know, I get a little buggy if I don't have a passport. I have one, means I can touch the world, pretty much. It means I can go anywhere. And once you start traveling, then you can even actually get to a point where you're like, you know what, I can travel alone. You know, if you want to do a traveling thing that's kind of like something with training wheels, take a cruise. At the very least, you're going to meet different people on the ship. You're going to meet different people in the ports that you stop at. Mm-hmm. Definitely expose yourself to these things. Why? Because it's better for them, sure, but it's better for you. You're enriching your life experience, and that's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. It's not the hokey pokey. It's success. Gotcha. All right. So let's we gotta get out of here. So let's tell everybody who is listening on the radio. One, we're gonna do On Beyond. You get that by going to successfreaks.com and finding the podcast there. This is episode number 156, World Cup World Community. And some radio stations were nice enough to play that extra part, and some are fine, and they let us put it on our website instead. So check it out, successfreaks.com. Where else can they find us, sir?
You can go to and we're all the social media. I mean, we're on Facebook.com/SuccessFreaks. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on all these other places. If you are interested in getting our podcast without having to do anything too much, you go to iTunes, and we're available through there. Just look for Success Freaks. So
we also did this little thing called a book. You can find it on Amazon. It's downloadable for your Kindle. It is only e-book format right now, but it'll go on all your e-readers. You can get it through Amazon.com, and it's called, I got to take a big breath because it's a really long title, Success Freaks Guide to Dream Hunting by R. Mordaunt Mon and Charles McFall. So,
it's basically a collection of our articles, and we break it up into 3 different things. So if you want to check that out, check it out.
You know what? Let's talk about it for just a second. We've got a little extra time here. You hit the first segment. What's the first section that we talked about in the book?
I think the first one is we broke it up into 3 sections: is head hunting, heart hunting, and then
truth hunting.
Truth hunting, yeah, because truth hunting is actually about something a little different. So head hunting, of course, is all the stuff that affects your mind, things that you go through, attitudes that you can have. Heart hunting is more of a relationship, and truth hunting,
it's all about the dark side of positive, man.
Boom!
We didn't want to. I've read a lot of motivational. Well, I've read a few motivational books. Mordaunt has read like a bajillion of them, and in my experience, yes, they give you the positive. They want you to have something to reach for, but very few seem to give you the negative. And we wanted to do that. We wanted to say, okay, it's not all roses and gold streets. Once you start chasing your dream, it doesn't just go and fall in. It's hard. And here's some of the experiences that we've had with chasing our dreams. Here's some of the failures and how we overcame them. Now we give you the overcoming, but we give you it's very, very, very lightly like SEAL training. And I only say that in the sense of, when you go into SEAL training, they tell you how hard it's going to be, and they're going to beat you out of the program, and you have to go and quit. They're going to make you quit, and it's going to be hard. It's kind of that idea of, you really want this? It's at the end of the book, and we've given you how to get past your head stuff and how to get past your heart stuff. Now here's what you're going to face. Are you going to make it? And that's what we do there.
Right. Yep. All
right, take us out.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We have had a great show. Good luck to Team USA, who is playing today. Once you guys hear this, it would have already happened one way or the other. And this has been R. Mordaunt Mon.
And I'm the It's Really Football Bear.
Weirdo. Ciao, Success Freaks. wait, I hear it coming from the distance. Boom, baby.
I almost jumped in on you. All right, 12. No, that's 10 minutes. 12 minutes. And 12 minutes. Okay, so we're going to talk. I'm going to bring us in. We're going to talk about our experiences with other cultures and what could we do if we had the guts that Jim has just to go somewhere in the world that we have no idea what we're doing. And some other experiences that he's had. Basically, it's going to be the World Traveler Jim if he were us show for a minute.
What would World Traveler Jim do?
Yeah.
WWWTD.
Yeah, you forgot the J. All right.
Sorry, that's not legal in this state yet.
I'm going to hit marker and then time.
Wait. Okay.
Oh, what's that? Right. Anyway, ready?
Yeah.
12 minutes on the clock. So I put.
Yep.
Marker time. Welcome to On Beyond Success Freaks, where we go bigger, badder, better, more into the topics of the day. This is episode 156. We've been talking about how to build a world community. And inside the main show for air broadcast, we started talking about the end of segment 2. We've got a mutual friend called World Traveler Jim. And here's what he does, and here's how he does it. And the idea was, when Jim is in another country for his business, and just for those of you who don't know, because you should have listened to the whole show ahead of time, so you know, I'm Charles McFall. That's our morning mine over there. I totally expected a yep, not a wave. Anyway, that's okay. But World Traveler Jim works outside of the country. He's based in the U.S., but his job takes him to other countries all the time, and to the same area. So he gets comfortable. It's easy to get comfortable in the area you go to all of the time and spend months there and get to know the people and make friends. But what he does for fun, and it blows my mind, he'll get a week off in between assignments, or at least a long weekend or something going on, right? And he says he just jumps on an airplane and goes, I haven't been there, and goes places that aren't necessarily touristy. I can't think of names. So, I mean, all the names I would think of are touristy, any of the names that I've heard of, like Venice, Italy, But he'll just get off the plane and start walking. And he'll go find a hotel, and he even does this in the places he goes to regularly. He'll just walk the streets and go in the areas he's not supposed to be in, or, most people wouldn't go, I guess is a better word. So what I want to talk about here in On Beyond is, for Morning and I, man, what would you do if you did that? And let me set it up with my little story, even though I've talked for a lot now. I want to talk some more. This is my segment. When I was going to Israel with World Traveler Jim, he was coming from California. I'm flying out of Atlanta. He was meeting me in Atlanta for a midnight plane to Israel. And I'm sitting there. I'm at the airport, 10:30 p.m.-ish. And, I'm sitting in the terminal. I got there plenty of time to get past security, do my international checks, that kind of thing. And I'm watching stuff on my laptop, and I'm watching that clock kick down. And it's 11. And it's 11:30. And it's 11:40. And I'm going, okay, what if Jim's flight gets delayed? What if he couldn't land on time? And, of course, you can't text or anything from the plane. And Jim is not a big texter. He's not a big electronic communicator at all. So knowing I have no idea if his plane got delayed, I might be going to Israel by myself. And I'm thinking, you know what? I can do this. I'm a brash young American. I could just jump on a plane and go to another country and figure it out. And I thought I could. And he showed up at almost the last minute. We get in line together. We go. And we land in Israel. And I'm already going, okay, I can't read any of the signs. People aren't speaking English at all. I think I could have made it, but as I'm trying to go through the security check, to get into the country, I'm going, wow, I'd have cracked myself just a little bit coming here by myself. And then how do I figure what hotel do I go to? What would I have done? I'm glad I didn't have to do that. What would your experience be?
Well, I've spent a little bit of time. I remember the first time I traveled as an adult, it was back in 1998. I went to Europe. I spent time in Italy. I spent time in France, England, etc.
Underpants?
I could see my underpants in France. It was very, very, international. Anyways, there was a point where my traveling. I'm sorry, everything just.
I know, all your alarms just went off.
There's a point where my traveling partner and I parted ways, so I had a little bit of time by myself. And after having traveled with her, I was able to do that. The same thing in Thailand. Man, I'll tell you what. I fly into Thailand. I fly into Bangkok, and then I take Bangkok to Chiang Mai. In Chiang Mai, I spent a month in Dow Garden. Every time so far, well, twice, 2 out of 3 times, flying back, something's wrong with my flight back is fine, but either I get there too early and I have to spend the night in the airport, or I get there too late and they don't know if they're going to be able to get me on another flight, and my visa is running out, so I'm going to have to buy another $1,000 ticket. All this other stuff. You know what? If you can get past the nervousness, it's the same thing. If you can just keep calm, you learn to deal with it. You see all the other opportunities. Everything has worked out. Everything has always worked out in that way. If you can keep calm and just enjoy the experience, you can look around at what the the world is showing you. If you're always worried about, I'm here by myself and I'm nervous, you're not going to see anything. You're staying in your hotel because you feel safe. And how boring is that when you're in another country? It's great to go with training wheels. It's great to go with friends or people who've done this before. Eventually, you can try this by yourself. It's different for men and women. I understand that, and sometimes it's better to go in groups no matter what. But I remember traveling cross country when I was going from France to Italy, and I was on an overnight train, and I happened to be in a compartment with 3 other people. One of the people who I'd never seen before was actually working at a gym in Canada when I was performing at the festival near there, and he was actually at the gym while I was, working there while I was working out there. So small world. You know what? You're going to run into people that have something in common with you. You're going to have great experiences. Do it smart, though. Do it safe.
Yeah. Having the safety net of gym was very helpful. My wife, going on a slightly different note, but coming back to this, my wife was very much a safe person. She stayed around home. She lived in the same area all her life. She's been surrounded by extended family all her life. She was very safe. I've moved around. I was very much, when I was 16, my buddy and I were doing this thing called Civil Air Patrol. It's neither here nor there, but we had a reason to go to Augusta, which was 3 hours away. And I just said, okay, get in the car. And we just went. We flew without really telling our parents or anybody through that same organization. Last minute, they had some organized trip to Ohio from Atlanta. And a bunch of boys, it's kind of like Boy Scouts, but different. But a bunch of boys with their troop leaders, for lack of a better word, going. Me, my buddy, I was 16 or 17. My buddy was 16. And my other buddy was 16. And the 3 of us just show up with no adults, no supervision. Our parents don't know. We're leaving the state. And we just showed up at 7 in the morning. We stayed up all night, messing around as boys do, eating pizza and watching TV or whatever. Drove out there at 6 o'clock in the morning and show up at the airfield. And they're like, where's your leader? I'm like, I don't know. He's sick. I don't know, whatever. And like, okay. And see, what they should have done is like, you can't go. There's no waiver sign. Nobody knows we're there. Nobody. And they're like, okay, this adult here is going to supervise you. And, of course, we're like, okay. And we jump on this C-130 military plane and fly with the military to Ohio to the aviation museum that's there, and immediately ditch our supervisor and walk around. We didn't do anything bad. We weren't vandals. We weren't crazy, but we did our own thing. And we even climbed up under some stairs so nobody could find us for a while and fell asleep because we'd been up all night. And we made it back to the plane on time, and we flew home, and none of our parents were the wiser. And that's who I was this is okay. I will be okay. I didn't think in these terms then. I've been the universe of my will. Of course I'm going to be okay. I'm going to fly out there. I'm going to fly back. I mean, they had no contact information. They wouldn't have known who to call. Had the plane crashed and we all died a fiery death and our wallets got burned up, we'd have been John Doe's. And our parents would have had no idea where we ever disappeared to. This is what we did. So this is who I was. And I met my wife, who never really liked to leave the little town she was in. And that's a good thing that the 2 of us got together, because she brought me back to thinking about things and planning things and not being so crazy and reckless, at least having somewhat of a safety net, because the safety net's not an anchor. Not always. Sometimes it is. And I got her to be adventurous and to believe in herself, to where, and Morty, you've been to the Atlanta airport. You do all kind of stuff in Atlanta when you're here. She wouldn't drive to the airport because it scared her, it confused her, but now she will. She'll drop me off and pick me up, and even her GPS went dead. She was okay. I can figure this out.
Right.
So having that safety person, you need an adventurous person. Adventurous people, you need a safety person so you can find a nice middle ground and have fun together.
And that's the thing that Charles did. Charles went and had an adventure. He did not do it in a very smart way, and I advocate doing anything in a smart way. And I'm serious. It was if something had gone wrong, and there was always a chance for that, nobody would have known how to get in touch with anybody. Excuse me, and nobody would have known anything. So you want to do that. You want to be smart about it, and that's the thing. If you're not able to have that world community attitude, where you're open to new experiences and open to new people, you're going to be stuck in your one-horse town. Now, your one-horse town may be Chicago. Your one-horse town may be New York. Chances are, if you're in a big city like that, you're already exposed to vast cultures. At the very least, you're going to be able to eat better because you're going to experience different kinds of food from around the world. Oh my God! Even within your own city. Oh, I don't want to go to that Indian place. It's great food. It's a little spicy for me, but you should try these things out. You know, check your attitude so you can have more adventures, so you can have more fun in life, so you can expose yourself to different communities around the world. You don't want to, you don't want to go too far. You don't want to take it too far. Go to Hawaii. Go to Canada.
Yep.
Go to try cross the line and go to Mexico.
Okay, if you're in the South, go to California or New York because that's a whole other world for you.
Go to any beach state. You can even go to Florida. Go to Miami, and that's a little bit of a cross-cultural place too. Have a Cuban food and have different kinds. That's another way to do it. Go to a different restaurant. Anything where you can get to know the people. And when you go to these different restaurants, get to know the cook, get to know the general managers or the people who are serving you. That's going to expose you to a different culture. Then you can take it to the next level. You can do this in baby steps. It's worth doing it. It's worth for you to get to know your world community. It's worth the first time that you're somewhere and you have an aha moment with somebody of another country and you both are getting something at the same time. It's fantastic. Then you're like, oh my God, we're all the same. We're different, but we're all the same, and that's wonderful.
It is wonderful. And there's a McDonald's and a Coca-Cola in pretty much every country in the world. So there's
that. But they serve different things than they do in your McDonald's, and that's what's pretty cool.
I was not about to go to McDonald's when I was in Israel. I want a real shawarma, not Mick shawarma. So that's what it's called. Not like. So all right. So let's. This is it. This has been a great show, and a great on beyond, sir. Glad we could tell the stories, and I agree. It was really stupid how I did things. My point was be adventurous with safety. So I found me a safe person to bring me back. You know what? I'm gonna let you take it out today. I've been taking it out for a while. I'm gonna let you take it out, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on Beyond Success Freaks. We've had a great time with you. This has been R. Mordant Mon.
And I'm Charles McFall.
Ciao, Dream Hunters.
Boom, baby.
There it was. Go!
Okay.
Go USA.
All right, drop that. So I've got an 11 o'clock phone call, so we've got like 2 minutes. I can walk you through, or I can wait until you render that out. Angie, you can pull back up if you want.
You got 2 minutes. Thank God there's no pressure.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I said it for 11:30, but apparently I said it for 11.
Yeah, you can get on the bed. Oh, wait, we're still live? You want to kill the live?
All right, there.